Welcome to PuckPod by BD Sports, our premier hockey podcast over here at BD Sports. My name is Brian. This is episode 19 of this series. I'm here with David and Christian. You guys know how we started. Christian, how was your week?
Did you pause there, Brian? Because you're like, wait, what's that guy's name? Because his shirt says Lionel Messi on it. Is that what happened there?
I think that might be it.
I think so,
For
yeah.
anybody,
He's like,
for anybody
is
not
he the
watching,
greatest?
he is the greatest of all time. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. For anybody not watching, Dave's got this shirt on. It just says Lionel Messi, greatest of all time.
Stand up? Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. It's Leo with the World Cup. He's kissing it. It's a sick T-shirt, to be honest.
Nice little butt.
Yeah, as I ignored Brian's question and him asking me, "How am I this week?" Yeah, no, screw how I am. No, it was a decent week. You guys all know how we're Jersey nerds on the podcast, and we're now entering the time of the year where for F1, this is like Jersey nerd time for F1 people because all of the cars get revealed like in the next month. So I'm getting like giddy and geeky about that. We got some Jersey talk on the episode today too, so that was like my highlight of the week, but I don't know why. That's a lot of jerseys and lots of just like weird stuff on my mind like that. How about you, Div?
Yeah, I had a pretty good week. Well, I didn't do too much. Worked a few times, and I guess we'll get into it later in the show. But like, I went to we had our third triannual BD Sports El Clasico, the Caps Leaf game yesterday. I was in attendance at the Scotiabank Arena. Awesome game. Couldn't be more happier with the guy's performance. We'll get into that later. But as of this recording, guys, I would say at about 6 o'clock, big news dropped in the NHL. I guess we could hit that up. Before we do that, Brian, how was your week? I feel so bad. I almost skipped over you. As soon as you're done, Brian, we're going to hop right into the big news.
Yeah, I don't want to talk too much about my week because like there's bigger news. My week was good, worked, this and that. Okay, the big news that dropped was that Mr. Bo Horvat of the Vancouver Canucks, their captain, was traded to the New York Islanders. Christian, what was the return again? It was a first-round pick and
123 first round pick, top 12 protected, prospect Atu Ratti. I think that's how you pronounce it. I don't actually know. Also Anthony Beauvillier. So those are the three pieces.
I've heard weird names to pronounce.
I've heard Atu Ratu, I think.
I've heard Atu Ratu. Also there's another way to I think pronounce it. Don't even like. I'm not even gonna try.
Where's Gordon Miller when you need him? Right?
Yeah.
Somebody just get somebody. Even Bob Cole. Bob Cole is known for getting players' names right, or trying to get their names right. So maybe call up Bob Cole.
It's one of those names you don't even try because you don't want to butcher it. But what I can say is that we all know Mr. Bo Horvat's name, especially this season. And boys, did the Islanders fleece the Canucks?
Is that your take here? Is that the?
I 100% think that the Islanders fleeced the Canucks. 1,000%. I don't even.
Okay.
The reason.
Okay, before we get into it, let's do it like this. Let's start Islanders' perspective then, for Brian's sake. Let's talk about what they got, what they lost, and then we'll do the same for Vancouver. Brian, what is so good about what the Islanders got here? What do you love about this trade that the Islanders got?
So they were able to dump off some cap by moving Bolivier, right?
Yes.
Bolivier has been underperforming for the past couple seasons.
Yeah, I'll get his contract info while we talk, because honestly, he might be signed past this year.
Yeah, 2 years.
I have it in front of me.
Yeah.
So he's signed to 4.15 for this year and next year. And then after that, he also becomes a UFA. So it's not like they don't have any RFA rights either, so he can walk after next season. Yeah.
So okay.
And
so basically, they gave up a roster player that has been underperforming for a guy who's arguably top 5 in the league right now. Genuinely, he's been top 5 in the league the whole season. I'd say consistent scoring. He's great. He's a leader, and he's a system player, which perfectly fits in with the Islanders.
He's an Isles player through and through.
If he can play the system that they had in Vancouver, just imagine what he could do with the Islanders.
Yeah.
Another thing too, they didn't give up this year's first if it's it's top 12 protected, right? We know this is a stacked draft, and man, Vancouver, I just don't feel like they got enough return given like what they gave up. They literally gave up a top 5 player for a roster player and a top 12 protected. Yeah, I get it. If it's the Islanders don't make the playoffs, if it's higher than top 12, moves on to next year. We still don't know if that's protected or not. But think of the returns we saw for like Matt Duchene a couple years ago. Horvat's twice the player of Duchene at that time.
I just don't think that type of return is available now. I think that's the problem.
But but this is the best offer that they got. We're still a month out from the trade deadline.
Yeah, that is one thing I will say. Like, if this can't be the first offer, there's definitely been teams calling. But I mean, dude, you do have there is still a month. Maybe it's just to get, just to finally get his name out of Vancouver, get his name out of the headlines. Maybe that's why the deal was done. This early at least. But no, 100%. They could have taken a lot more time. This could have been done at the deadline. Even saving a little bit more room on your budgets, the cap accumulation until the deadline. So yeah, and especially for someone like Lou, maybe I don't know. It seems a little bit off. Like maybe he just he's getting his shopping done early. This guy, because I don't know. I remember in the past, with the Leafs, he was making his big deals
deadline
if
day.
Not on deadline day, the day before. It would have been within 24 hours of deadline day. So I don't know. It's a little bit weird. What else do you think, Christian, about?
Let's stay on the Lou angle for a minute. Do we think that I know we're saying, okay, Vancouver could have held out for another month and maybe got a better return. Do you think maybe it was Lou putting the pressure here? We know that Lou is obviously the master negotiator. Is it Lou holding JR's feet to the fire saying, you take my offer now or it's gone tomorrow?
Yeah.
Maybe that was the case. Obviously,
I wouldn't be surprised. But here's the thing, though. If that's Lou's offer, what were other people's offers in comparison? Maybe he wasn't going to get an offer this good, because the thing is with Ratu, or Ratu, however you want to pronounce.
Let's stick with Ratu. Let's stick with that for the rest of the show.
Ratu, okay. He's okay. Second overall, 52nd. He actually went a lot lower than I first thought. There were talks I remember of him going top 10
first
at one point.
Dude, going into that year, he was projected as the number one. Yeah.
Wow. I see. I don't remember the number one talk, but I do remember top 10 and top 5 for sure, 100%.
Yeah,
which is insane that he dropped that low. So there clearly has to be some talent here. Is Vancouver going to be the place though to unlock that full potential?
That's a good point.
Who knows? But the one thing I do want to say, so before I think I said I wanted the Islanders. I think one of my predictions was the Islanders to make the playoffs. Dude, Matt Barzal has needed somebody on his, to play on his line to score some goals, because Beauvillier wasn't going to do that. If you're expecting Josh Bailey to do that, or Brock Nelson, or whoever else he's playing with, dude, now this guy gets a bona fide top 10 goal scorer, top 5 goal scorer in the league currently. I don't know if Horvat's going to put up the same production, in his next contract or whatever. But as of right now, he is a top 10 goal scorer in the league for sure. Dude, Matt Barzal and Bo Horvat together might explode for a team that's struggling for offense. Christian, we saw them. They came into town last week, I think, right? Or was it the week before?
Honestly, it was... I think it was the Monday, right? So it was the day after our last episode. So
yeah, dude. Yeah. I mean, listen, they scored two goals on the Leafs pretty early, but the Leafs ran their show for most of that game, and
they look slow, right?
They did. They did look sluggish, 100%. So maybe this is the spark that they need.
And if it is that spark, they're only 3 points behind the Capitals, and we're sitting in the top wildcard spot right now. They're only 2 points behind the Penguins, who are sitting in the last wildcard spot. We're one game out of the playoffs, legitimately.
Mm-hmm. And you also add on to the play of Buffalo recently as well.
Yeah,
you have Florida in that mix.
Yeah,
it's gonna be real interesting down the stretch to see Well, that might be the reason why this deal got done so quickly, because
potentially.
if it's not getting done now, and you lose a month, let's say this deal happens at the trade deadline instead of,
it's getting
the end of January.
It's getting to the point where every single point matters for those teams. If you're in the wildcard race.
And every point has mattered for those teams. And that's why Lou's jumping in early, getting probably the biggest fish on the market, maybe barring, Erik Karlsson, who's
never moving.
Will he stay? Will he go? Like,
exactly.
That one's much more up for debate. I know Patrick Kane's on the block as well, but even God knows if he's
even going just off of what they've done this year, like Horvat's the number one. Right,
yes,
like just based 100%. Off the statistical performance, Horvat's the big 100%. Fish.
Yeah, he is. So yeah, that's the big fish off the market already. Lou got his deal done
before the deadline. Yeah, listen, man, he knew what he wanted and he got it. And like we've been hearing about Lou needing another forward. Forget just this year, like for multiple years. Talk about JT Miller, Tarasenko. There was the Parise deal that was nixed at the last second, like 3 deadlines ago. He's on Long Island now, but he got there as a free agent after being bought out. So
definitely a much more favorable deal, I think, for the Island. I'll be honest with you, if that trade didn't get nixed, and he would have been on full term, and that buyout went the Isles' way instead of Minnesota's way. Ooh, man. I'll be honest, I don't even know if this trade goes through. Like, that could have.
He might not be able to see it, right? Lou might not be the guy to make this deal.
Maybe.
It's revisionist history, but that's honestly like a really interesting thing to look back on.
It's a side note, 100%.
Speaking of things to look back on, like going back in time, just a little parallel. I threw this in our chat before we got on here. Just the parallel and the poetic parallel of Horvat being the guy who was drafted in 2013, 9th overall pick, and that pick was traded by Lou Lamoriello for Corey Schneider of the Vancouver Canucks at the time. Horvat and Corey Schneider find themselves both on Long Island now. That's just the weird things in sports where you're just like, what are the chances? What are the odds?
I think the biggest shock for me was finding out today that Corey Schneider still plays pro hockey.
What did you ask me? What was the question you asked me?
Dude, I straight up thought you were like, yeah, now he's gonna be with Schneider. I was like, oh yeah, maybe he's Lou brought him in as like goalie coach or something like that. No, he's playing for the AHL team. That is insane to think about. I legitimately thought he was done. Like, I don't know. I haven't heard his name in like 5 years, so even longer.
But
we're in agreement that, like, obviously Bo Horvat's a huge addition for the Islanders. We don't have many complaints about Bo Horvat the player. 2 things I want to mention. Islanders still have cap space, just about $2 million of it, and Dave already talked about that accumulates to a higher amount every day. So they could end up with, I don't know, close to like $3 million in prorated cap space. They're probably not done. And in that case, not that this is like, it is. It's an incomplete picture of what the Islanders roster is going to look like for their playoff push. And when you look at it that way, they're not done here. But I will say, I still want them to get a winger. Like, I still think they need to try and get that underrated, maybe not a bona fide top 6 winger, but they got to look for at least a middle 6 guy, someone who can at least play on second line in a pinch. Because 100%. Right now, Cap Friendly, they have the lines as Horvat centering Barzal. I know you talked about the Dave, like get the guy for Barzal. I don't know if that's the ideal.
But yeah, like it's not like just Bo Horvat on his own will not push that offensively inept needle. He'll definitely help out power play. They're absolutely all god awful on the power play. He'll help on the power play, but you definitely need to add. At least I would honestly say maybe even another piece after, maybe 2 top, maybe a top 6 winger and then also a bottom 6 forward wherever you see fit, because they're still running out. God love them, but Casey Cizikas, Cal Clutterbuck, Matt Martin, if you're still running, and to another extent like a Scott Mayfield, dude, if you have those 4 players in your lineup, you're not going to be scoring as much as some other teams, which is fair. It's 100%. If that's your identity, That's fine.
Yeah, but now they have an X factor. You know, like you gotta like they're my perception of the Islanders just changed overnight, just like that. Now they have a system that was already in place, and now they have a system guy that has the X factor, that has the extra push that can get them over the line.
100%.
I just feel like they need a playmaking winger. That's what they need. Who's passing the puck on this team other than Barzal? Right? It's not Anders Lee. True. It's not Brock Nelson. He's a sniper. Kyle Palmieri, sniper. Parise, sniper.
AG Pajo.
Another thing,
Josh Bailey's having a very down year. They need a playmaker now.
Another thing too, I don't think Lamoriello would have made this trade if he doesn't think that they can do it. Genuinely, right?
Yes. And like I said, it's an incomplete picture. This is probably just the start for Lou.
Yes.
And honestly, I get it because this is probably the Islanders' best shot. Like this feels like, are they going to get better than this next year? I don't know. It's tough. It's tough to see, especially now with trading that first round pick. Mind you, it could probably be this year, but yeah. You guys want to switch now onto the Vancouver side of things?
Just one last question now.
Yeah.
So regardless of his play, actually, maybe this does actually lead into his play. If he doesn't perform well, what's the scenario that he re-signs in Long Island? Basically,
I'm actually surprised he doesn't already have a deal.
Maybe that deal is coming. Maybe it's 24 hours away. Who knows? Maybe they're gonna wait. Maybe like Lou is the type of if anybody in the league is gonna hold out on a player to try to shake him down for every penny, it's gonna be Lou Lamoriello, especially for somebody who's coming in as hot. Like any other GM might be offering a lot more than what he should probably be closer to. Lou's not going to budge on that, and he'll wait until his last second for Lou wants a favorable deal for himself. And if he doesn't get it, I sincerely don't think he has any problems of just, But here's the thing. If he lets him walk, then whatever they do in this window now, like in up until the end of the year, if they let him walk, I think this trade is a done.
All right, let's go. Let's just go into Vancouver because we spent 17 minutes on the Islanders side.
17 minutes already?
Yeah.
No way.
That's incredible.
That's crazy.
One thing I will say, like Dave just brought up the scenario where he doesn't get extended and the deal looks bad. If he does get extended, obviously that makes the deal look a little bit better, and I think it would be. To Brian's opinion, right? He's saying he's of the opinion that the Islanders fleeced Vancouver here. Is that under the impression that he's going to get an extension, or would you say that regardless?
Regardless,
yeah.
Yeah?
Oh, really?
Okay.
Even if it doesn't resign?
So, even, let's say, first round exit, let's say even if they miss the playoffs, it's still...
it's not a guarantee, man. It's not a guarantee they make
it. It's top 12 protected in a stacked draft. Okay, yeah, you get punished next year, but you still get to keep your first this year. And let's say they do win the lottery, or let's say they... I
think you're really underrating Ratu, bro.
Okay, but you guys got to put in perspective that they got legitimately the biggest fish on the market. Legitimately, the best player that you could possibly get right now for a let's say A-tier prospect, a first-round pick, and a depreciating asset.
Yeah, I'll preface this by saying I think the deal gets done. I don't think this deal wasn't done without the knowledge or some sort of knowledge that he will be a New York Islander on his next.
But guys, this is the equivalent for us if we traded a first round pick, Anthony Mantha, and I don't know, Alexi Protas. This is the equivalent, or for you guys,
it'd be a little bit better than Protas, but like I get the point. Yeah. Maybe who's the guy you picked this year again?
What about
that guy?
Yeah, I would never trade him. But for you guys, if you guys said we'll give you Bo Horvat for exchange for your Engvall or Kerfoot, A-tier prospect, put Ty Bolt,
if Nicky Robbie was healthy, it would have been him. But
you wouldn't do that in a heartbeat. Come on,
100%, and that's why I think this deal's is done and we're getting it now because there is a deal on the way. I don't think that there's a scenario where Lou loses this guy. He can't lose this guy, especially because he lost Kadri last season. Supposedly wasn't even in the running for Gaudreau. even though all sources were saying that everybody thought that they were gonna be in the running. So you let the fans down twice. Basically, I don't see Lou striking out a third time and losing. And another thing as well, you lost your captain John Tavares to the Leafs a few years ago. Don't think that that's not still sour in Lou Lamoriello's tongue, especially because he lost it to fucking Kid Wonder, his former protege. Like, he lost it to Kyle Dubas.
Yeah.
Right?
So I mean, like, if you at the end of the day, he struck home with this one. He made a great deal, and 100%. Because of it, now he has the opportunity to take this team a little bit farther. The Islanders were already considered a pretty good team over the past couple of years. Let's be honest. Like, I know they didn't have the star power, but obviously they got pretty far into the playoffs a couple of times. You gotta tip your hat to them.
Adds to their star power.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
And let's move on to Vancouver because it's
So
okay. Let's talk about the pieces that we know the names of. Anthony Beauvillier. Brian, you seem like just as sour on Beauvillier as the Islanders themselves. I mean, he's 25 years old. We talked about his contract situation. He's 20 points in 49 games this year. Obviously not good. He's got a career high of only 39 points. The height of Beauvillier's career was 2019-20, 2021. So that's the bubble year, and the year after that where we had the crazy divisions. In the playoffs in those 2 years, so 2019-20, bubble year, 22 games played, so they went to the Eastern Conference Finals. He had 14 points, 9 goals in 22 games. Pretty good. We thought it was a coming out party for him. Followed that year up with only 28 points in 47 games. Honestly, not a terrible pace.
A point-a-game player right there.
Yes, exactly. With 15 goals, we could maybe extrapolate that to maybe 20-25 goal scorer with maybe like 50 points.
50 points?
Yeah. Followed up that past playoff performance with 19 games, 13 points, 5 goals, 8 assists. Like 2 good playoff performances. Islanders didn't make the playoffs last year. Obviously, he's not on the Islanders this year. He won't be in the playoffs. But this is a guy who's shown up in the past 2 playoff runs for his team. Like, I don't hate this bet for Vancouver. They're going to get a taste of what Beauvillier's like for the rest of the year. And even if they don't see much in him, by trade deadline next year, they'll be able to move him too. And even if it's not for much, third round pick, whatever, you can replenish that asset. Aatu Räty, Dave touched on it, high pedigree prospect. Can't admit I've watched a ton of him. He's half a point per game in the AHL, 2 goals in 12 games for the Islanders this year. To me, this is just not a lottery ticket because I feel like lottery ticket is he's better than a lottery ticket. Okay, he's not just
Olivier.
Yeah. So,
Aatu
Räty. Yeah. Okay.
So,
yeah.
You look at like the young guys that Vancouver has that are on the fringe of the main roster. Nils Hoglander, Vasily Podkolzin. Now you add Aatu Räty to that. One of those guys has to hit, right? Like those are 3 guys with big pedigree. Nils Hoglander was doing Michigans in the Swedish Hockey League before he came over. He started well. Vasily Podkolzin, top 10 pick, I believe, captain of the Russian World Junior team, and now Aatu Räty, high draft pedigree. And Dave, like we talked about, we thought he was a top 10 projected pick, ended up second round. Not a perfect comparison, but the Leafs have a prospect who was pegged for second overall, Timothy Liljegren, entering the year. Health reasons dropped him down to 17, but when the Leafs got him at 17, it's not like everyone unanimously said it was a steal. People had kind of soured on him too. They're like, oh, we don't know about the IQ, the instincts. Yeah, he's got raw tools, but we don't know. We love Timothy Liljegren now. He's not second overall.
But exactly. I was just about to say that. If you pick him 10 to 15, that's a great pick. 100, or you know what? Maybe even 10 is pushing it right now. But 15, perfect pick. But getting him, almost at the end of the first round. Same thing with like a Nick Robertson as well, who dropped as well. But here's the thing on if you have, sorry, oh my god, I got so many thoughts going through my head right now. One thing that you have to remember, and I know this could be said for any player drafted over the past 2 seasons, but the COVID pandemic completely butchered a lot of people's projections and expectations for players. Now is when a lot of these guys, you'll notice the make or break. If you have that type of projection heading in, I don't see what the worst could be by taking that lottery. Like, listen, he's 6'2", 185 pounds, still only 20 years old. Like, man,
this is his first season in North America. He just came over this year.
Yeah, 100%. Dude, if I'm the Canucks, that's a bet I'd be willing to take. Like, realistically, what could be worse? You know what I mean? Like, everything's just gone so wrong for them already. Even if this blows up in their face, it can't be that much worse than what's happened so far. So it really can't.
So if you look at this Horvat trade, if you look at what they got back, from my perspective, this doesn't make me think, oh wow, like this is all they got back, in the sense that this wasn't the only thing that happened for the Canucks this week, because they signed Kuzmenko to a 2-year deal, correct, for about 4.5. Yeah. If that's the situation, 5.5. If that's the situation with if this is what all they got for Horvat, could you imagine what the offers were for Kuzmenko? Like, it couldn't have...
saying like it would have been less.
Significantly less.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At that point, I get why they signed Kuzmenko now, if that makes sense.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. No, that is a good point, because you take that
still,
over.
It still probably isn't the right choice, but it is significantly, like, it's definitely more clear to see.
Yes.
100%. So that's all the signs are leading to the market's probably a little bit more, because people were projecting like
stinks for sellers. Like, this is 100%. All you got. This is like from having Horvat and Kuzmenko together. Now you have Kuzmenko, a first, a terrible middle six winger, and I'd say B, A tier prospect. That's all you have.
I would say A-. Dude, he put up. I'm just looking at Ratu stats. He put up 40 points in 41 games last year for.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I'm not going to butcher this name, but Jukurit in
Jukurit,
Finnish.
Yes.
He's a Jukurit in the Finnish Liga. You know, and also for the juniors, he put up 10 points in 7 games. Like, you know, there is some production there. Maybe not to the level of a projected 3rd overall pick or 2nd or even 1st, like what they were saying. But
last episode we were talking about how Vancouver has to get their king's ransom for every single piece that they have.
That is true.
They didn't even get close to what they
maybe this is the king's ransom.
That's what we don't know yet, right? Like, is it a buyer's market? Are all the prices going to be really low? Are we underestimating that? Or did JR just like actually not get fleeced? Because in the vacuum right now, I don't think it's a fleecing, but the other moves that get made might make us look back on it like that, right? It's tough to give it a full grade until we can compare it with what the other big guys go for. I view it more as win-win right now. I would, after a conversation we had, I'd say like 60-40 Islanders. If I think put a percentage, I would even slightly better for the Islanders.
70-30 to the Islanders as well. Like, I'm still not high. I'm just trying to make that devil advocate's case against. But yeah, even still, and Brian brought up a great point. We did say we were on it for like 3 weeks. We were like, dude, you have to go out and get if this is how you're treating the situation, you have to get a king's ransom for Bo Horvat. But I think that's just a process of, that could just honestly be a process of the Vancouver Canucks right now, because it's like your team's already an absolute mess. So it's like either you take this trade or he's walking for nothing, right?
Yeah. I don't think it's a foregone conclusion that Anthony Beauvillier is like a nothing. Like, he's literally just dead cap at $4.5 million. Like, I think
have you seen him play defense?
An actual viable. He plays on the Islanders, right? So I don't know. Maybe maybe his defense isn't the best, but
no. But that's the thing. If he plays on the Islanders, you would expect his defense to at least be mediocre. I don't think I've seen this guy backcheck, and he plays on the Islanders.
He's fitting right in with the team. Him and JT Miller are going to be like soulmates.
He's legitimately a winger. He's legitimately a winger that can't score and doesn't play defense. Yeah. He's literally dead weight.
I don't know. I like some of the potential there. I think
maybe he'll
snipe
get
it.
that. He'll get that offensive freedom. Now, I'm just trying to like reason. You know, I'll be honest. This might honestly just be a way for the money to move. Like at the end of the day.
I think it is more like it is more that. I don't think it's like Vancouver said, put Beauvillier in the deal or we don't make the deal.
Yeah,
but then again, if you're
it's just a comparable, it's the comparable number. It's like only $1 million difference between the two cap hits basically.
But then what you say what you say to if you're Jim Rutherford, if you say we will retain 50% or 25%, whatever you have to retain, throw in another draft pick or throw in something of value instead of just taking on literally negative for another 2 years as well on a cap crunch team.
Right?
So the argument against is if he doesn't pan out exactly with like if he's serviceable,
if he is
you're able to just flip it.
Yeah.
What are you gonna get off of it if he is Here's the thing though, like if he performs really well, or if he doesn't, like are the Canucks in a situation where they like can flip it? Like, you know what I mean? I'm trying to like how do I put this?
You're saying next year can they flip him or do they want to contend? Like
let's say exactly, because are they going to contend? I still think I genuinely think that they think that they're going to contend next year.
I'm gonna
if you're not in a position to contend, you're going to have to flip him regardless.
I'm gonna make a hot take. Beauvillier will regress on the Canucks.
Oh, really?
I'll even say that. I'll even say that they get less for him at the trade deadline next year when they inevitably have to move him. Just because
I pulled up some defensive stuff here on Beauvillier. He sucks defensively this year. Sucks.
Is it just this year, or is that like
in general?
So last year he sucked. 2 years ago he was really good. 11.4 defensive. This is from Dom Lechezin's player cards on the Athletic, but
maybe that's like Barry Trotz effect too.
Yes, yeah. So, like there is a year where Beauvillier decided I am going to play defense. To me, that does go to the Trotz thing. That goes to like fatigue of the system. Like Beauvillier he wasn't cut out to play that level of defense for the whole Barry Trotz tenure. Is that a good thing? Obviously no. But I think we've seen crazier things than players who we think are goners turning themselves into something. Just look at last year, Sam Bennett. There was Leaf fans clamoring for Sam Bennett, and they were met with, "What the hell's wrong with you? This guy sucks." And that was the reasonable thing to say based off of the evidence. But throw evidence out the window because now Sam Bennett's like what like a 0.8 per game player on the Florida Panthers. Just as an example, obviously not every situation turns out like that. I just don't think it's a foregone conclusion that he sucks.
But let me ask you this: if you want to revitalize your career, if you want to make something out of whatever you have left, do you go to the Canucks, especially what's going on right now? Not that he had a choice, but is that really you'd expect?
Yeah, exactly. He doesn't have a choice.
But is that where you would expect someone to revitalize their career? Absolutely not.
No, not in their current state. But
well, here's the thing: like, they do have like Andrei Kuzmenko is still a low key underrated reclamation, not reclamation project, but he's a shining light in a terrible situation, right?
We always come back to the point that we like the individuals on the team, and for whatever reason, the sum isn't what works. The individuals, when you just say the name, Elias Pettersson, Quinn Hughes, Brock Besser, Connor Garland. I love Connor Garland. All right, Andrei Kuzmenko. Like, you say those names, and you're like, okay, you put those guys together. That should be a good team. And for whatever damn reason, it does not work. But what if it does? What if it does eventually, right? Like, I don't know. I'm also trying to play
time. I think time will tell 100%. And this they could either age for the Canucks. I think 100% regardless, it's going to only age like a fine wine for the Islanders. Regardless, I'm in the opinion of Bo Horvat is going to be signed whether or not it's tomorrow or in the summer. He's going to end up being an Isle for his next contract extension for however long that's going to look. So that's only going to age like a fine wine for the Isles. Yeah. But now the problem is for the Canucks, will this trade also age like wine for them, or is it going to age like milk really quick?
The wild card is the prospect. If they hit on the prospect, then that's good for them. But you guys also got to remember, too, that...
Wow, you're still underrating Ratu, man. Like,
but you go
just develop.
Are you talking about the pick, Brian? You're talking about the pick.
Yeah, the top 12 protected.
Yeah.
Well, or potentially next year's, whatever, right? But you also got to understand the situation that, like, the Islanders got Bolieve's contract off the books. You know? This is like proving guys that doesn't work with them. And you're upgrade, you're giving a prospect and a first round pick, whatever, and adding on $2 million to the cap and getting a legitimate top 5 player in the league right now. Guys,
no, 100%.
Realistically,
100%.
Okay.
No, I do understand where you're coming from, Brian. But somebody like Ratu, it could be not a cornerstone piece, but could be a part of that organization for. If he's a part of that organization for 5 to 7 years after this, leading up to maybe his first big contract, it still looks good on the Canucks, but 100%. This situation, at the end of the day, is just a situation that the Canucks put themselves in, right? At the end of the day, they chose JT Miller over their captain, Bo Horvat, and this is the situation that they have to stew in, for as long as Bo Horvat's a member of the Isles, and Beauvillier, Ratu, and to be named later prospect is a part of their organization.
Let's go to
2 thoughts. I've got 2 very short thoughts. You just brought up JT Miller and them choosing JT Miller. Also, the fact that the Islanders they wanted JT Miller, right? They had a trade, or there was a trade in the works for JT Miller to go to the Island. And the Islanders actually made the right decision too. Not only did Vancouver choose the wrong guy, but the Islanders ended up choosing the right guy. Very interesting stuff there. Second thing, I'm just going to put the scenario out there. I'm not saying this is likely, but we see the Florida scenario playing out with their pick this year, the Sherratt deal. Like we said, it is not a guarantee that the Islanders make the playoffs. They are in a dogfight with Washington, Pittsburgh, Buffalo, Florida. That's 5 teams vying for 2 spots. Okay. The Islanders can make 2 more deals and still miss. It is not totally impossible. And then if that pick next year is unprotected, we could just be talking about the same scenario about the Florida one next year. Just throwing it out there.
And I could see that happening, but if
is it likely? No, they've got Sorokin. Yeah. That's the thing too, right? Like that guy.
That's a big X factor.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, let's move on to the next topic, because this sets the market for Timo Meier, I guess. How much did Timo Meier's stock drop? How much did the value of what the Sharks thought they could get fall?
Like the U.S. stock market in 1929, it is Black Friday across the NHL because was it Black Tuesday? What am I thinking? Black Friday is where you could
the shopping
get
day.
Murdered at Walmart. My mistake.
It's Black Friday for buyers though.
Yeah,
it looks like it, dude. It's a fire sale right now. It looks like it could be a fire sale across the league. So now here's the thing, right? Is it a buyer's or a seller's market? I don't even think this trade itself even set the
this could be an anomaly, man.
Even set the market. How crazy is that? That's insane.
This sets the market. Horvat was the biggest piece.
Does it?
Yeah, 100%. This sets
the
market.
100%. Yeah, I'm starting to lean towards definitely a buyer's market.
With the way 100%. The cap, with the way that everybody's tied up to the cap, right, to the ceiling, with the way that legitimately the best possible player you could get for dollar is Bo Horvat. Timo Meier, the value of what the Sharks got just fell like crazy. I don't think that they can get more than what. Well, if they got more, it'd be a miracle. But it should be equivalent or at least less. I say equivalent because I think Jim Rutherford just got fleeced. I think he just woke up on the wrong side of the bed and made the wrong decision. But the Sharks should expect something similar.
I honestly think that they're going to be able to get the Horvat deal or more. To me, just as a team that says, okay, who do I want on my team for the next 8 years? Who you guys choosing, Horvat or Meier? I'm taking Meier.
Just because of age,
right? Exactly. Yeah, but you can't ignore that context here. In a salary cap world, you can't ignore that context. And there is teams, and there was teams interested in Horvat that have like prime assets. To me, the team that stuck out was Carolina. They've got prospects galore, picks galore, young players galore. Like they've got a full cabinet worth of assets. And if they held out on Horvat, to me it says their top target might be Meyer, right? Like they might throw the kitchen sink at Meyer, and I wouldn't blame them one bit. I brought this up to you guys in the chat. Buffalo, another team, so many assets, it's not even funny,
dude.
So many young forwards that aren't even on the team yet, man. Like they've got rookies, JJ Peterka and Jack Quinn. Both of them have looked pretty good. Peterka's now in the minors, but Jack Quinn has been really good for them. And then they've got guys who aren't even there yet, like Yuri Kulich is really good, Matthew Savoie really good. Like they just have so many expendable assets to deal from. That to me is Sabres for Meyer. They could make a deal more expensive than the Horvat one, and I wouldn't be saying that they got fleeced. Like I would be saying that's a good deal. So I've got a bunch of stuff. Okay, go on, Dave. Yeah.
So here's the big question on that. You brought up two teams right there that have stock covers. There's definitely one other one that we're probably missing that's probably got a good offer ready to come in. Does that maybe make these other teams, like you lost your first, like the big prize, it's off the board.
Yeah.
Now, are all these other teams quivering a little bit? They're like, dude, we got to start getting
this is when the
an offer prepared. So maybe a bidding
down, right?
Pardon?
The variety on the market has went down. Horvat is not there. Like you have to pivot now. How many teams are pivoting from top target Horvat to Meyer, right?
Well, that's what I mean. Like, will this maybe induce a bidding war because that now he's off the market. Now I would say Timo Meyer is probably the big fish on the market. A lot of teams who had Bo Horvat pegged as their top target and maybe Meyer as their next, you lost your big fish. You gotta maybe get a good offer prepared in order for it to get. And if there's two teams that have good offers on the table, who's gonna budge and put out a little bit more to get that player? So maybe in that case, maybe we do see the Horvat deal plus for Timo Meyer.
Yeah. Can I just say I'm happy that thank the Lord Horvat didn't go to the Bruins. I just had to right now. I just had to put that out there.
Yeah, but it might be Timo Meyer this time.
Okay, never mind, Dave. You put the fear right back into my
dude. Sorry. I mean, listen, I don't want it as much as you, but it might just be Timo. So
yeah,
I really want to keep Meyer outside of the Metro. Like that's like when you bring Horvat in, you're bringing Horvat in from
the Atlantic.
Yeah. The Bruins also play in the Atlantic. Remember that. But you're bringing in a top player from the Pacific right into the Metro, and then you're gonna bring another potentially top player from the Pacific, throw him into the Metro. Oh my God! But two teams that we're fighting like constantly with. I mean Carolina's kind of run away with it, right? But man, it's gonna be tough. This division sucks.
All right, just a quick note on the Horvat stuff. Horvat says that his agent and the Islanders did not discuss contract extension in order to facilitate the transaction. And Lou was asked about it as well. He said on a media call he hasn't had contract talks yet with Horvat's camp, but obviously hopes that's something that will happen. And just we did hear this, that teams are allowed to talk to Meyer about a potential extension. There was another player too that teams are allowed, I forget, but Horvat wasn't. The Canucks never made Horvat available. That might be part of the reason that some people think the return is light, right?
Definitely possible.
Another thing
you don't want to overpay for a guy that
if he's not going to sign.
Yeah.
But that just looks even worse on Vancouver's part, does it not?
No, it does. Yeah, it does. And people have been saying that. It's like, why are you limiting yourself, right?
Oh my God, guys.
This has basically just become a Canucks podcast the past month. It's incredible. I thought this was going to be finally the episode where we don't touch on the Canucks, and then of course the trade happens. Yeah. One last Canucks thought. This is from Friedman, so this is legit. This is on the topic of Thatcher Demko. He says, and I quote, "I thought no way they would ever move him, but now I think it could be possible. At least think about it. I'm hearing like you, Rick Dhaliwal, Canucks reporter, that teams are calling on Demko.
Oh,
So listen, could be a nothing burger, but we'll keep an eye on that, right?
yeah. I mean, I don't
I'm
see.
not like I think that's like a media. That could be just
Yeah,
like a media. Like you're gonna want to watch. Hey, Demko might be
yeah.
going next. Yeah,
But
yeah.
my goodness, guys, like
Man, he better
The
if
Canucks,
he's the
man.
next one to go. Damn,
this
damn.
just
No.
spoils.
They can't.
This just takes a big hit to deadline day, like trade deadline day, because like this is a month away, and
Dude,
oh
PSN
man,
and Sportsnet are hate Lou Lamoriello right now.
Yes. Well, they already
Public
did.
enemy
They already
number
did,
one.
man.
Oh,
They
100%.
already did. Okay,
Yeah.
I lied. One more note on this from the Horvat trade. They did retain 25%. So it becomes equal salary in, salary out in terms of Beauvillier and Horvat. So they've got even a little bit more cap space.
Jim Rutherford, my goodness.
We gotta put a little bit of blame on Patrick Alvin too, man. Okay, I told you guys last episode, the Bald Council over there in Vancouver. Listen, man. It's Alvin's got to take a little bit of the blame too if this trade ends up
He's
looking
clearly
terrible.
not calling the shots though, so I don't know how
I think
much.
JR has said he he has a lot of say, but he's not good with the media. Talk about a nothing burger. His quotes are nothing burgers. Patrick Alvin. Yeah.
Ugh.
Okay,
But honestly, that's kind of what you want if you're Vancouver right now. You want a GM who says nothing, to be honest.
so 25% retained. You already said that. We already mentioned that they have 2 million, and it could be 3 million by the time the trade deadline comes.
Yeah, that number's going to be updated now.
Boys, that's
we'll wait
lethal.
On cap from there.
Boys, yeah, that is something.
Well, that definitely leads into your point, Christian, that the Islanders
aren't done
100%. I think maybe now even more. Like that's what an extra $1.5 million that they're saving right there. Wow.
Yeah.
You add that onto a potential. You said it might go up to 3 mil, so you have potentially 4.5 mil right there to work with. It's a lot of money to get a nice little piece in there. So,
back to the Myers stuff.
Yeah.
I'll read the report that we got from the San Jose reporter. Literally a couple minutes before the Horvat stuff. It's from Sheng Peng of San Jose Hockey Now. Cost for Timo Meier, first rounder, 1 grade A or 2 grade B prospects, or 1 good prospect. So where does good go between grade A and B, right? A little ambiguous there. So 1 good prospect and a young established NHL player. And the ask on a new contract starts with at least a 9. We were talking about Timo Meier in our chat throughout the week. Me and Brian spent way too much time trying to make Brian went out of his way to try and make a Timo Meier trade work for the Leafs for not only this year but next year. I tried all the time. I do it on my own time. Brian went out of his way. Sometimes I go out of my way for Brian to do some cap stuff. I tried once. I remember we were trying to look at that. But I mean, to me that was I expected that for a Timo Meier contract, 9 or up. We had him pegged at 9.5. We said, screw it, give him 9.5, 8 years. That sounds about right. I'd say, honestly, that's probably what Horvat probably gets to. He's a little bit older. I think if they were the same age, you could say maybe Horvat gets 10. I feel like 9.5 is what it's going to end up for Horvat. So those are similar prices for these guys. It just puts more credence in my mind that Meier is going to be the better get. Whoever ends up getting him, assuming that the team is able to keep him. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's the with that caveat there. That was some good trade talk, boys. Do we want to move on to actual hockey games or?
Yeah, I'm exhausted with. I got all my ideas are exhausted right now.
Yeah,
I'm just damn. It was just all of a sudden too. You guys sent that in, and I was I saw New York Islanders. I'm oh, what did they do? You know what I mean? I was damn. What the hell did Lou do?
I was expecting.
I opened that. I don't even know what I was expecting, and then I just see we've acquired Bo Horvat for Anthony Beauvillier.
I thought it was gonna be the Islanders get a third liner or fourth liner, you know.
Islanders have sent Matt Martin down to the minors. Imagine if that's what I sent. Hey boys, big news. It's funny the timeline too because I got on with Brian before the pod and I'm like I was taking a nap and then my cousin woke me up by sending me that tweet and Brian's like, yeah, you woke me up with that tweet too. Dave, were you taking a nap, man?
I was eating. I wasn't.
Fair enough. Not a food coma. Maybe after the pod.
All right.
Yeah, maybe. Definitely after the pod.
Quickly.
Yeah. Yes.
You guys obviously know my take on the Horvat trade in terms of like who won the trade. How about you guys? Who won the trade? Definitive answer right now.
If I have to choose a winner, I'm taking the Islanders. Yes, but
Okay.
I think it's just not as uneven as I feel like Brian's like Brian's at 100 Islanders, 0 Vancouver.
Yeah,
I'm not at that point yet.
All right, Dave. Final say.
Yeah, no, dude. I said it before. I'm probably at like 70 to 80 Islanders, and then like 20 Vancouver. Like there is a chance that they pull it back, but it's slim, 100%. So.
All right, boys. After this, I never want to hear the words Bo Horvat or Canucks ever again on this pod. We are done.
Dude, if we don't ever have to talk
trade.
about until next week when Jim Rutherford says something stupid once again. If we don't have to talk about Jim Rutherford, Patrick Alvin,
it's a win,
and JT Miller for the rest of this season or the rest of this podcast, I would be completely fine with that.
Is this what fans felt like when the Leafs, like in 2014-15, would just have
this is what fans always feel like with the Leafs. So
it's true, but like, dear God, how did we survive?
The answer is yes, and my answer is no to the Caps Canes Stadium Series jerseys. We'll move into that next.
What a
segue! Boys, I always wanted a Weagle jersey, but I don't know. This is a little bit too modern for me. I don't know if this is it. Like, it's a little bit difficult to make it work. I always thought like if you were gonna do a Weagle, it'd be like a small crest over the chest, but you know the way that it extends across into the navy part of the sleeves.
It's just huge. It's massive.
It is big. It's huge.
I'm gonna be honest. I kind of like. It's kind of grown on me. Like when Brian first sent it, I was man. It's whatever. It's a little out there, but like I don't know if it hit. I saw Ovechkin, the picture of Ovi on the ice in it. I kind of like it. I'm not gonna lie. I kind of like it. I definitely prefer the Caps one over the Canes one. And the Canes one to me is just, it's a cool color scheme. You can never go wrong with black and red. You're always going to look cool when you put on black and red. But it's like the reverse retro where no originality. Like, come on.
So here's my
something
question.
A little bit different.
Here's my question. They're playing. Where's the game being called at? Rally.
Yeah.
Is it not at Duke, or is that the
I think the same Carter Finley Stadium?
Yes, that sounds right. Yeah, that sounds right.
Okay, and is that not on like one of the two Carolina campuses, like UNC, like the Tar Heels?
It's NC State Wolfpack football team.
Okay. I thought it was like UNC.
Not UNC. Yeah, not UNC. NC State.
Okay, because my point was gonna be like, why don't you just go with one of those colors instead? Like switch it up, you know?
Could you imagine a white and light blue Canes jersey? Like you don't even have to go Whalers because I know like that's what everyone like just the Canes.
Yeah, because you already did Whalers. Just stay off of Whalers for a little bit, dude. It's okay. I love the Whalers, but you did it already like 3 times the past 4 years, dude.
Yes.
Lay off of it for a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Give us something, dude. Even the Carolina Panthers colors, anything.
Yeah, exactly.
Carolina's got that black and blue. You know, they have the colors of UNC. Like the Blue Devils are a bit darker, but like either way, go with something different, dude. You don't gotta stick with the red and black all the time.
That's honestly, I really like that take. And UNC blue would have been really clean.
So here's the thing. We said this before about I said this about the Bruins when they released their
Winter Classic.
It was the Winter Classic, and I was like, dude, go with like the Red Sox or something. Like change it up, man. Like I'll be honest with you. Like if I'm a neutral and I see like the Canes jerseys, I'm just like
whatever.
Oh, okay. Like it looks like, if I'm just a passing hockey fan, I'm like, oh yeah, it looks like a Canes jersey. But then if you see like UNC Duke Blue Devils, Carolina Panthers. I know they're not in Charlotte, but like Charlotte Hornets, they're in Carolina too.
Yeah.
Something, just give us something. Like, is that too much to ask for? A little originality.
But then like you look at the Carolina jerseys and you say, oh, can you give us a little bit something original, a little bit something new? Then you look at the Cap stuff. It's like, if you do something original,
no, the Caps is more original.
No.
But at least with the Caps, they tried something.
Okay,
100%.
Sorry. Yes.
I guess. But then again, like if it's not amazing, you're gonna hear it, right? Like the fans are gonna say something.
I'd rather them take that risk.
Yeah, I'm of the. I mean, the exact same Christian. I'm of the opinion of if there's no there is a harm in taking risks, but sometimes there's even more harm in just keeping it simple, keeping it plain. Like you might honestly get burnt more by just keeping it plain. And at least if you take risks, because I don't know.
No, you can't grow unless you take risks. You gotta take the risk. You gotta step out into the world. But,
I like your take, Dave. Yeah, the blue and white.
I'll tell you what. Yeah, every single team is safe. Yeah. No, Dave, that would
we also don't even have that many. We don't even have that many light blue and white design that. That's even more original for the NHL because it's how many teams are rolling out a light blue primary and what light blue and white primary, you know what I mean?
Would be the Penguins Winter Classic jerseys. Yeah. That would be the closest.
Or the Montreal things
are. Yes, that's true. That's true. But that shows you there are a damn dozen. There's literally 15 years between light blue jerseys.
And a lot of people hold those Penguins jerseys in high regard. Yes. I know a lot of people that have them. Right? Those are stunning jerseys.
They're beautiful. Every team is protected from taking a risk with jerseys because they'll never have a jersey worse than the one from the Tampa Bay Lightning Predators Stadium Series, the Smashville jerseys. Ugh. You'll never have a jersey worse than that. So, the Caps could have came out with an upside down Weagle in sparkles and carbon fiber underneath, and it wouldn't have been as bad as Smashville. So, take a risk all you want. You'll never be as bad as that jersey.
I have every single logo of the Capitals except for the White House and one more. The one I want the White House one, but the one I don't have and I actively stayed away from is the Caps against Stadium Series.
Yeah, no, that one sucked. That was pajamas.
Yeah. But
that one was not good.
I did buy the shirt. I'll probably just buy the shirt this time around, but
yeah,
I don't know.
Okay, but Brian, you have to say this one's better than Caps.
1,000%,
right?
Bro, Caps is probably the worst thing that we've ever come out with, but I will say this. You're right. I do respect the innovation, and I think that it does look a lot better on the ice with full uniform, obviously.
Yes, it's gonna. I feel like on fans, it's gonna look a little weird just because you can't fill out a jersey as well. But when you get it, you get the full spread of the eagle, it'll look good on the ice.
I'll also say this. They'll look a lot better when we go 3-0 in outdoor games.
Oh, I thought you were going to say, you know what?
Sorry, 4-0.
But you know who doesn't look good on the ice? The actual Capitals. I thought that's where you were going to go.
No, because we have 2 minutes left.
I thought you were going to plug Fubo. I thought you were going to plug Fubo there, I'll be honest with you.
No,
Are they on Fubo yet?
The Capitals?
Probably soon.
In the States, yeah. But,
you should also plug NHL Shop because that's where you can buy these Stadium Series jerseys.
Oh wait, why am I saying? Why did I say Fubo? I meant NHLShop.ca.
NHLShop.ca. That's a good question. Let's go check right now, live on the pod.
Yeah, check right now.
It's probably the first thing that it has on the. Yeah, it
has to be.
It's the first.
It's either that or the All-Star jerseys.
My favorite Stadium Series jersey for any team is Detroit. Remember when they had the diagonal white stripe and that weird D? I gotta pull it up.
That was the that wasn't Colorado. Was that against us? Oh, that was the what, Lake Placid one?
No. Here, I'm gonna find it. So
who did Colorado play Lake Placid? Oh,
Vegas. Vegas. Yeah. This one was because we talked about this. The Stadium Series jerseys are always super modern, right? Versus the Winter Classic, they go really throwback.
Yeah, it's heritage. It's the heritage, vintage, which is fine. If you have you kind of make that distinction, and going in, that is like the agreed upon sentiment. Dude, I'll be honest with you. I think you brought up those Smashville, both the Smashville and the Lightning ones. Maybe that's the reason why we're not getting so many innovative. Like
they got burned once and they're scared. They touched the hot glass.
I think maybe
the Lightning ones I didn't hate. Like it's like bolts. I didn't hate that one.
Okay,
with Smashville, like you cannot defend. You cannot defend Smashville, especially after their Winter Classic Nashville ones when they faced Dallas. Dallas's were beautiful. They went with the beige pants, and Nashville said Nashville Predators in like cursive. It looked like Tim Hortons font. That's what
yes.
The Tim Hortons.
So, all right. And here, I'm going to be talking to zero people when I say this, but if anybody's wondering why we haven't brought up the Coyotes New Jerseys, it's because they suck. So I know I'm talking to zero people when I say that. Nobody's wondering that, but yeah, that's why.
Okay.
Listen, one thing I do want to say about that, I don't think they completely suck. They're all
no. Like I'm exaggerating. The pants are nice with the cactus, but the potential was there to be so much nicer.
Oh, dude. The top could have made that up.
It could have been gross, 10, man. Oh,
but it's
my
like
God.
a 5.
So,
like a 4.
So Caps and Hurricane Stadium Series stuff is up. The Caps shirt for the Stadium Series, not the actual jersey, just the shirt is gorgeous.
Yeah.
The hat is gorgeous. You can find both on NHLShop.ca. Use our link below. We're going to go on break. It'll be a quick break. It should be seamless, but we'll be right back. All right, so we are back from our little break. Seamless transition for you guys. So, on the Capitals, yes, we do have new jerseys coming out, but we don't have any new points coming in this week because it was a very tough week. Dave was actually at the most recent loss to the Toronto Maple Leafs, unfortunately. Yeah, I don't know where to start with this because, just like the Caps defense, I'm blanking out. But you guys had a pretty good time, obviously. Dave, how was your experience at the game, first of all? Because that's the most important thing here.
So I'll be honest with you, great time. We had I think you guys. I don't know if you guys saw where I was sitting, but I was 310, so I was kind of in the middle. So I was able to see both ends of the ice. Row 10, so I was at a good height. Love those types of seats. If you're sitting in the middle, at a good height, and you're able to see both ends of the ice, dude, I love those types of seats. But yeah, dude, it looked like from the start. So I guess we'll start it here. So John Tavares last night celebrated his 1,000th game. Had a very, very nice ceremony. The Leafs put together a nice video package with former teammates and friends. I saw Sam Gagner was on there. He was a former childhood friend of Tavares. Some guys on the Islanders. Exactly who was it? With Josh Bailey on there? I forget who it was.
I honestly don't know.
Yeah, okay. We'll leave it at that. It was some Islanders, current Islanders players that he played with for a long time.
Yeah.
I believe Brock Nelson probably was one of them.
It was just a nice with the $35 million that Tavares gave him.
Oh wow!
He wasn't. Did you say Matt Wilson?
No, unfortunately, he wasn't there. He might have been in the crowd. I'll be honest with you. There was one guy that kind of looked like Matt Molson. He was the one that got the wave going. We'll talk about that in a minute. Yeah, it was a really nice tribute. I thought they did a fantastic job, and it looked like going into the game, there was one of two ways that game could have gone. That game could have gone like John Tavares' first game back on the island after snaking the team. And the Leafs just blew the biggest fart on the ice, and they got run out of that building, dude. That was a depressing watch.
To the point where they came home and we were like, "Oh my God, John, we love you, man."
Yeah. Or it could have went the way of the game after, where everybody was like, we saw you guys get run out. The fans were like, we saw JT get run out of his own barn. Let's show him some love, give him great support coming back. And they steamrolled the Buffalo Sabres, I believe, that game. I think it was 6-2 final. It looked a little bit shaky at the start. They conceded first, and then they scored 6 unanswered or something like that.
Yeah.
Which is a great, response, which it would have been nice if you got that.
Man.
Yeah, it would have been nice if you got that response, the first game against the Isles, 100%. But on that occasion, you want your team to perform, especially because that's your captain. And it looked like from puck drop, they were ready. Like, they were prepared. The Leafs did go down early. I had a picture perfect view of Backstrom's shot. Beautiful release. Like, he's such an underrated player. I know that's Brian's favorite player, probably besides Ovi, John Carlson, Tom Wilson. You can't go wrong on your top, caps of all time list there, Brian. But man, that was a beautiful snipe. First of the season for Backstrom. Hats off to him, especially with what he's been going through, what he went through actually this season. So good for him. But it was never in doubt. My friend that I went down with, it was 1-0 after the first. He's like, man, like, do you think we really picked the right game? So for a little context, me and my friend were actually supposed to go to the Rangers game, the game against the Rangers on Wednesday. But we had some pretty bad weather in Toronto, so I was like, listen.
We've had pretty bad weather the past, like...
The whole week.
Yeah.
The entire week was bad. Even yesterday, to start, like, the day started, and I was like, dude, please stop, like, pretty early. And it did, and it held out for us the rest of the day. So that was great. So we had to, like, cancel the Wednesday game. Thank God we didn't buy any tickets. And we went yesterday, which honestly was, it was a great time. I think we picked a pretty good game as well.
Probably the better choice. Yep. I will say this.
That OT winner was pretty nice.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if you saw it. Did you see it, Brian, or no? Marner had like a Bob York.
Oh, I saw. Yeah, I saw this. This was on TSN for like the past week.
It was like 18 seconds into. It was
the Bobby Orr-esque goal cutting in and then falling and stuff. I mean, it was okay.
Absolutely brutal defending from Keandre Miller. Let's put that aside, but that's a different story.
But
no, dude, like, I literally remember after the first period, sorry, Brian, but I literally turned over to him. I was like, the Leafs have this game. I said that, and I was like, they're gonna.
We knew. The game was over at puck drop. The game was over right from the puck drop, just because you guys came out flying.
Dude, like, that first shift, we were flying, man.
Yeah.
I said to Dave, I'm like, bro, Dave, you went into the dressing room, you gave the boys the pregame pump talk because, oh my God, we were just like, Kerfoot would look like a speed demon, Bunting was just a battering ram, everyone was flying. I don't like you said, we went down 1-0, but it was never in doubt.
No, it honestly felt like it was never in doubt. Like, it was just,
and honestly, that was surprising. Just because of like the ceremony. How many times after a ceremony do we say, "Oh, teams are slow," right? Because just the emotion and whatever. Nah, not this time, right?
I mean, and give him credit too. Like he, I believe he got 2 assists. Like, he's like one of only, I think it's like 50 players all time to have like multiple points in their 1000th game thing, which is like a meaningless stat. But like, you know what, he went out, did his job. But John Tavares yesterday probably could have tacked on a goal. Like, he looked lively from puck drop as well. Sometimes you don't even see that. Like, the emotion kind of gets to them, and it, like, I don't know whether it shoots, like, it gets them shot.
I find it interesting how you guys play so well without your best player.
Yeah, that's another
like,
big.
Literally, like, since Matthews has come, our record's like what? Like, Dave, it's like 600 win percentage or something, right? Like,
it's better than when he's in the lineup, but it's like marginally. Like, when Matthews is in the lineup, their win percentage is already at
I think that's
600.
I think that's odd. Like, not
it's a
odd,
sample size,
but like, it doesn't. Yeah, it's a meaningless stat. But in the sense that, if most teams, when they have like their best player out, it's like they lose that conviction, they lose that fire, right? But I guess with Matthews is out, you guys still play very well. I mean, I think that's a test to your coaching system. I think that's a coach to your GM. I think that's a test to the team as a whole. You guys have a good team. I'll be honest with you guys.
I think it's a test to the players around, like,
specifically the stars, right?
Yes, they show up.
Who stepped up yesterday?
Yeah,
right.
Nylander.
Marner was flying. Nylander stepped up with a goal. Matthews' line mate stepped up with a power play goal with Mike Bunting. Like,
and he scored the first goal of the year yesterday, right?
Morgan Riley, that's another one as well. Like, he got off his monkey off his back.
And we can't forget star player Pierre Engvall. Oh, no, okay, but finish.
That was gorgeous.
Yeah, I'm joking.
Dude, Pierre Engvall, if that guy could do that, dude, he's gonna lead. He does have a really nice shot.
He does, especially when he's speed on it. Like when he's coming from end to end and he has all that speed behind him. There's an extra oomph behind the shot. I just joke that like, oh, it's the every 2 months Pierre Engvall pretends he's Austin Matthews. I was literally in attendance for his last Austin Matthews goal against LA. Like it was the same thing. He scored the other one against Boston.
I was just about to say, dude, even right? Boston, like, dude, beautiful snipe, and it's like, wow,
like, just like it's just like, where are you the rest of the game? Okay, defensively, well, he's actually good.
So that's the thing, right? That separates him from somebody like if he was able to do that every single game, he would be Austin Matthews. Like that's the caveat that you have to take there. Yeah. But for what he brings to the table, I know Brian's laughing there because like
I know,
I compared Pierre Engvall to
Hey, I mean, it's a good shot. It was Matthews-esque, right? Go in, just rip it top corner. I mean, you know,
if you listen, it's only Matthews-esque if you do it every other game, which he doesn't,
or every game.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. When he did that, I was like, "Huh?" I was a little bit surprised. I was like, "That guy has it in him."
So I joke he plays hockey on the side. Like when he's on the ice, he's going for a skate, and if the puck gets on his stick, he's like, "Oh well, I'm here. I might as well just like play hockey, I guess." But he's not there to play hockey.
Yeah, he's just there to look good. I'll be honest with you. Yeah, it's a good-looking dude. So I'm up in the stands, and I see. Because in the back of my head, I'm like, I saw that game against LA. I saw that game against Boston. I'm like, dude, he's gonna catch a lot of people surprised here. Because that's another thing too. A lot of the guys, I just don't think that a lot of people even see him as that, like, as having a nice release, a nice shot like that. So I'm like, I was just like, he's coming off like the board there, and I'm like, shoot! And like as soon as I said it, it comes off his stick, top corner. I'm like, poetry in motion. Poetry in motion with that. Beautiful. So happy. Yeah, it was a really great performance.
Let's go back to sorry, Dave. Finish up there.
Oh, and I think like, dude, it could have been even more. Like, dude, Joey Anderson and David Kampf missed like,
oh my god, nets. Man.
No, like, we got steamrolled.
I saw a tweet. I believe it was from Steve Dangle. He was like, I believe the tweet was like, the Leafs just put up one of their best performances of the season and had two of their worst misses of the season in the same night. Like, that's unbelievable. Because that's the thing too. Like, you don't even see that often from this Leaf team. It's like when the pucks, when they're shooting, it's either going on net or it's missing wide. Like there's just no in between. And when you have that open chance, 10 times out of 10 this year, they've been burying it. We haven't seen that puck jumping up on. Like it definitely. I feel so bad for Anderson because it was like, dude, that's open net, and it just jumped up on his stick. The Kampf one, I think I could forgive just a little bit more because that was a bit of a tough angle. From where I was sitting up in the stands, I didn't even have a look back at it. It looked like a tough angle, personally. Maybe something that he should have as a professional hockey player. That's just me.
It happens, though. It happens.
It does happen. That's what I mean. So I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. But the Joey Anderson one, I'm just like, dude, I feel so bad for you, especially because he scored last game. I was like, dude, back-to-back games with the goal.
And his spot isn't necessarily solidified in the lineup. So every goal for Joey Anderson, it's like 5 goals for somebody else, right? Brian, what were your thoughts on the Russian philosopher and his smiles?
The Russian philosopher? The Russian philosopher?
Sammy Smiles.
Oh, Sam Smiles. I saw a tweet. I saw a tweet. Like on Cap's Twitter. I don't remember who did it. It was probably some nobody. Sorry, some Twitter egg. But it said
Twitter egg.
It said Ilya over like math equation like over Darcy, and I thought about it, and I was like, you know what? We know how Sam Stubb is with Washington, and it wasn't what we saw that night, like this season with Toronto. It's not even comparable.
Yes, and it sounds like honest. Sorry, go on.
And it's like you're right. It sounds like it's a little bit of a, hindsight's always 20/20 situation, right? But I'm happy for him. He he is a very good goalie, very talented. It just didn't work out with us, which is kind of odd given like the context of the situation with Russian players and with goalies specifically. Well, goalies in general with us. It's a little bit sad it didn't work out, but at the end of the day, I can't complain about Kemper. Kemper laid a goose egg a couple times, but I particularly
which every goalie does.
Yeah, which happens, right? But then again, like this game, I specifically blame on the defense. I think we gave you guys like 6 breakaways, genuinely, and you guys capitalized on like 3 of them, which realistically you should be capitalizing on half of your breakaway chances or all of them, whichever way you want to look at it, right?
But at least a couple.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, it's not the fact that it's a loss to Samsonov or a loss to like that hurts. It's more or less the fact that we need the points. Like we're on the edge of the playoff border. We're in a wild card spot. The 3 teams that are in like the metro spots are pretty much solidified. So that's my take on it.
I feel like I always reference the same interview when I talk about Samsonov and even Murray to an extent. I listened to this Kevin Woodley interview. He's literally, his name is the Goalie Whisperer. I think like his magazine is, so he's a big goalie guy, okay? And he was talking about the situation with Samsonov in the summer and him coming into Toronto. And it wasn't a question of talent. It sounded like Samsonov came over from Russia, was like, I'm Ilya Samsonov. I'm really damn good. Have you seen my stats in Russia? They're really damn good. And he was not receptive to Washington staff being like, hey, so we're going to try a little bit of new stuff. And he didn't respond well to that. He was like, what do you mean? I've always been good. I don't need to adapt. And conditioning was something that Keefe has always stressed when talking about Samsonov and him being good. He always says this. They'll be like, what do you mean with Samsonov tonight? Yeah, he's been good. He's been good all season. You know, when he first came in, we told him we got to work with him. We got to get him conditioned. But like he always references that. And to me, it sounds like, I don't know if the situation was ever going to work out in Washington, like you said, Brian. Not because of the player, but just the combination of the player and the team. It wore thin for whatever reason. And I mean, you got a guy it's the other way around, Dylan Strome, right? Like talk about a guy who's rejuvenated, new life in Washington. So, I mean, yeah. We haven't even talked about the fact that Murray's injured, or we didn't even mention Matthews was injured. It was Brian who mentioned it, but yeah, Murdoch's injured. Matthews is injured. The Leafs will carry on because it really shouldn't affect us. So more so the Matthews thing than Murray.
So here's the take on Matthews. So Matthews is, you know, he picked up his. This is my take. He picked up his injury on against the Rangers, a leg sprain, which he definitely could have. It could have also been lingering from time before. You know, we just saw Ilya Mikheyev go down for the rest of this year with ACL injury, he's been nursing since the preseason. So he played half the season with a bad ACL, basically. Here's my take on this. I don't know if you agree, Christian, and I don't even know, like Brian, if you want to chip in. So when Matthews' injury was announced, the game after was Ottawa, who are awful. They're in the bottom 10, I think bottom 5 of the league. The next game against the Caps, fighting for the playoff lives, not in a playoff spot right now. Or are you guys in a playoff? Or maybe at the time we're recording. Yeah. Okay, so in a playoff spot, but like on the fringe. The next game after that, cream of the crop, Boston Bruins on Wednesday, 7:30 at home. Big game, top of the league. After that, the league's we're going on hiatus for the next week because it's All-Star break. So that's basically a week gone of games. The Leafs then come back. Let me pull this up so I could get it exactly.
It's a beautiful schedule.
Dude, it works out so well for the Leafs because the next 5 games after that are Friday.
Columbus, right?
Yeah, Friday and Saturday, February 10th and 11th, home and home against the Columbus Blue Jackets, who are currently, I believe, the worst team in the league. Then Wednesday, the 15th, against the Blackhawks. Saturday, the 18th, against the Habs, who the Leafs just recently lost to. I'll hold my hand up and say, I don't know what's going on. And then that's also another back-to-back the Sunday as well, the 19th, is in Chicago. So that's 2 games against Chicago, 2 games against the Jackets, a game against the Habs, and now a game against the Bruins on Wednesday.
You'll find a way to get 4 points out of that. Max. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, so here's the thing, right?
It doesn't matter about the points. It's about Matthews. Like, is the point we're making, right?
Yeah. So here's the thing:
up.
if you're gonna lose your star player at any point in the season, I think this might be the best time to lose him. Like, get him rested. So basically by the 19th, after they play the Blackhawks, that should be realistically when we hear next for. That's next roughly update. Around the next update. So that's roughly around 3 weeks.
When I saw the Matthews injury, I thought it was an All-Star game injury. Like he doesn't want to go to that, and
who knows, right?
And
I don't think so. So listen, like Dave was saying, how he quote unquote sustained the injury against the Rangers. There is it's not baloney that we say it like that, because the original reason that Matthews stayed out those couple games, like what was that, a couple weeks ago. We never got a reason. Like we were never told what the injury was, right? Like that was undisclosed. It was Matthews is not playing tonight or the next game, and we never knew why. So who's to say that it wasn't a knee injury from before, right? There's absolutely no reason for us to just exclude that option. Like it's everything you said there, Dave, is right. It's perfect timing. The schedule is soft. For not just the Leafs, the whole league. The bye weeks are going around the whole league. Some are, it might even be right now. There's only like 2 games on for the next couple nights and yesterday. I'm not holding my breath on Matthews' health for the long term or even just short term of the season. And it won't hurt the Leafs as much in the standings. The Murray situation could honestly a little bit more, because we do not want to drive Samsonov in the ground when he's playing this well. That's kind of the idea with having the tandem, right? Is that you're keeping both goalies' loads down. And that's probably not going to be the case. Like, they're not going to play Wall against Boston. We already have confirmation on that. Dude, you give Wall games coming out of the break, though. If Murray needs the rest, he's getting one of those Columbus games for sure. And I think you give him one of the Chicago or Montreal games too, honestly. Right?
I think so too.
Just needs to break himself
100%.
back.
Yeah, and listen, like, he deserves a shot. Dave's been singing his praises since before his incredible run. So it's deserved for Wall. I do want to go back to just JT and the 1,000 games for a second. Just to give him his kudos, right? Like, this is a guy who's so understated. And there was an article that came out. Me, Dave, and Brian, we talked about it in our chat. I should definitely get the kudos out for that article as well. It basically,
I never laughed harder. That was such a well written and like such a funny piece as well. Like, oh my god, I believe that was from I want to say Myrtle.
It was Siegel. It was
Jonas Siegel. Okay, so either or, we'll give them credit. Credit to the Athletic. They do put out good pieces as well.
Fantastic stuff.
That's a really good read.
The singular quote that was incredible from that article. Tavares is known for carrying olive oil around with him on the road. That's it. End of sentence. This guy has olive oil in his bag at all times. It was just a really good article that gave us such good insight. And I'm going to read the title of this article, because the title is, it's so good. Maple Leafs John Tavares is not a hockey robot. He has kombucha in a keg. That's the quote. I think it was Kerfoot that's got that quote. We got a really nice look into Tavares' personality, or lack thereof, because some people are still saying this is exactly what a hockey robot would sound like. But also we got some good insight on guys like Kerfoot, Hall, Gio, just really funny guys. And you could just really tell after reading that piece how much the guys love JT. And Dave said it, like, he was at the game. Just look at their on-ice performance. They care about that guy so much. And I'm going to give JT credit. Like, even if he is just like a health freak and a nut and does weird stuff, like always have the window open on planes for no goddamn reason and bring a light around with him like a freaking reptilian. Like, that's personality at the end of the day. I'll give it to him. And I just feel like since he came to Toronto, he seems like he carries himself in in a different way. Yes, he is a hockey robot, but I feel like he's just more comfortable here in Toronto. He's just the way that players talk about him. They say he's got a humor. He's the guy who picks out all the restaurants on the road. I want to give some kudos to JT.
He's a foodie, as they call him.
He's a foodie.
He's
a foodie.
So,
and what was the line? Dave liked the line. I think it was Kerfoot. It was like, if you eat chicken with JT, it's like it's like he's eating a carcass and it's clean. Like he just cleans. The bones. Yeah, it's a funny line.
It looks like a turkey carcass or something like that. It was just like because he wants to get like all. It's like something like he wants to get all the nutrients out of it as he can. And the one thing that's like so highlighted, it's like, I don't know if it's like understated in like when you see him play on the ice, but it's
oh, Dave froze for a second. Looks like
we lost Dave.
You know what? It just translates so well to his game. No. Okay.
We got you back.
You're good.
You're back. Go on. Go. We lost you. Like, you were doing like this pose. I don't know.
He translates his game, so his real life translates to his games. What do we call him, Christian? John Tavares is the little things king. Yes. That attention to detail in his life translates onto the ice. Right. So for him bringing around a 2-liter bottle of olive oil around with him because it's like it adds that extra touch. That's the detail that he has to add. Him picking out the restaurants, being a foodie, him owning his own kombucha keg because he's so attentive to his health. Like he makes sure he doesn't. I saw at one point it was like he doesn't eat anything inflammatory like during the season because it's like he doesn't want anything flaring up. But in the off season he'll have some red meat that might
pizzas and cook some barbecue. Yeah.
That is how John Tavares plays his game on the ice. That attention to detail on the back check, when he's in the corners, when he's forechecking, trying to being a net front presence. That's John Tavares. It's something that it's like it's been under our nose this entire time. We could have seen something like that coming. It shouldn't have taken a piece like this to tell us that's John Tavares. I think this just highlights who he is as a hockey player and how he's gotten to 1,000 games. What he just hit what was his milestone? It was like 400 goals.
I think it was 400. Yeah, 400.
Dude, like shout out to JT, man. Like, I can't. Such an understated player, but when you see articles like that, it just makes you appreciate him and the other guys who also appreciate him. So like guys like Kerfoot, Giordano, when they notice that type of stuff, everything about it just I love it.
So
great.
I gained a greater appreciation for the team's appreciation of John Tavares.
100%.
So looking back, a couple of weeks ago in our chat, we were talking about Lou Lamoriello in the sense that I will always see him as a devil, even though he's been with the Leafs, even though he's been with the Islanders for a bit of time now. John Tavares, have you guys surpassed the point where you see him as an Islander yet, or will you forever look back at him as a Leaf? Because it's been a couple of years with you guys now with Toronto.
It's been what? This is year 5, right?
Yeah, something like that.
So if he signs any type of even semi long-term extension, like 3+ years, like de facto Leafs, you could probably make an argument, I don't know, maybe as soon as next year, that it should be the Leafs either way. But you got to ask a neutral fan, because like for us, we're always going to see Toronto.
Here's my question.
Yeah, that's true.
Brian, how do you see John as somebody who, the Islanders have been in your division. They've been a constant
I see him as an Islander
in the
still.
Capital side, right? Yeah. Is that what you see him as still? What will it take for you to, like, will it take, a sustained cup run with the Leafs for him to think? Will it take, him finishing out his career as a Leaf? When will that maybe change for you?
Okay. Before Brian answers, I'm going to say one thing. How many series did you win as an Islander?
One.
I think that's what it takes for him to be a Leaf more than an Islander.
Fair enough.
See, for me, I've just seen so much Islanders, Tavares, that like it's just a longevity thing for me, right? I mean, I mean, it's kind of interesting now seeing him in Toronto. I mean, it sounds like he's found a home, or that sounds like he's gone home per se.
Found home,
right? Yeah. But it's just interesting to me that like you guys are like, oh, he's a Leaf, like he's built
so
to get
here's
in
the
here.
thing. He is the captain, right? Like
That's
if
point.
he wasn't,
but he
if he
also
wasn't
was
named the captain,
this isn't like Claude
he
Giroux.
was.
Like no one's gonna look at Claude Giroux as an Ottawa Senator after his 3-year deal where he's not a captain, right? This is different.
And it even makes you think, like, is John Tavares Mr. JT? Is he in the HOF? Like, is he in that category?
I honestly haven't even looked. I haven't even considered it yet, because he does have he's 31, 32? He's 32, and he's a September 20 birthday. So start of next season, he's 33. If we peg him in for 5 seasons, does that sound about right? 37, 38. Could you see Tavares play that long? Even if we conservatively say 4 seasons, he's at 946 points in 1,000 games. He's going to hit 1,000, and he's probably going to be a little bit over 1,000. He might finish with. He might have more than 1,100, honestly, right? I think that's honestly very conservative because that would only be 150 points in the next 4 years. Yes, right? He's going to have the numbers. He will have the numbers. 412 goals right now. If we want to say the 500 mark, which is a huge mark, right? That's the Matt Sundin legendary goal against Calgary, the hat-trick OT winner. If he can do that in Toronto, which is 88 goals in, let's say, 5 years, more than likely.
Yeah.
So he's probably he's a Hall of Famer, man. Right? He lived up to the billing as a number 1 pick.
Here's the way that I look at it. Like, Steven Stamkos, he was the draft before. I think already Stammer is a lock for 2 cups, captain of the Lightning, probably until the end of his career. Oh, man, like how do you say no to somebody like Stammer? Okay, so JT doesn't have the hardware like Stammer has. Stammer has the rocket. He has does he have a Hart or a
He's
Art
finished
Ross?
Twice in top 3 for Hart. And he lost the Art Ross famously in 2014-15 in the last game of the season to Jamie Benn because Jamie Benn decided to have a 4-point night, and Jamie Benn won the Art Ross with 87 points, which is a disgrace.
The worst, the least deserving Art Ross.
It would have been a disgrace if Tavares won. Like, let me make yes.
Yeah.
Tavares finished with 86 points, and Jamie Benn had 87.
Stammer.
So he doesn't have. Sorry,
is that
Tavares,
I was talking
86,
Stammer.
Ben 87. Yeah. Stammer. Oh, you're saying the Stammer has a harder.
I was saying. Yeah.
Sorry.
So that's my thing. Like individual hardware. That's what I mean. Like,
Stammer has the 65-goal season, right? And the Rocket that year.
The Rockets.
The Rockets.
Yes.
60-goal season.
So that's what I mean. So that's I think
that's the difference
for all intents and purposes, that is the comparison here. So of course, he doesn't have JT doesn't have the team silverware. Hopefully it's coming. Pray to God. But so that's my comparison. So I think right now, hands down, if Stammer retires at the end of this season, I think he's a lock. I'll be honest with you. I think that means by the end of both of their careers, they're both locks for the Hall of Fame. I don't see the argument. I can't see the arguments against it. There are players who have gotten in with less, basically.
Yeah, I think there's only 2 players all time with more than 1,000 points who aren't in that are retired. So there's still guys that are active, obviously. But so it is very rare to get more than 1,000 points and not get in. So it's more likely than not. Let's reminisce a little bit on the on-ice product of John Tavares, the hockey robot part of John Tavares. Like, his first season in Toronto was fantastic. Like, what did he put up? 47, 48 goals.
48?
Right?
It was
47 or 48 goals. 47, okay. So 47 goals, and I think that was the year. I think Crosby took the Rocket that year. The Crosby's only Rocket. So, man, that was a legendary season. That was Marner's breakout year before his contract. Like, he was incredible that year.
They were absolutely electric.
They were dynamite. Hyman, the full GTA line, right? Yep. So, listen, that first year he came in and he made his money's worth. Absolutely no doubts about it. And the years after that, you can't say like he was terrible. He was a notch below that first year, obviously. But this year, like maybe the production is in line with the past couple years, but I've liked what I've seen out of Tavares more than I have had the past 3 years. Like going back to his first year as a Leaf, what player do you know that is 32 years old that in the offseason improves his skating, right? That right there is a testament to the will and just the work ethic of John Tavares. Like this guy was a below average skater. He still is a below average skater, but it is visibly noticeable that his stride is cleaner this year, right? So just shout out to him, man. I already liked him as an Islander, but obviously you come to the Leafs and I've got such an appreciation for him now, man. Just an excellent captain, excellent player.
You know what? He is a fantastic player, and just seeing what he's done past in his career, it makes you think. Maybe Dave is right. Maybe if he just goes a little bit over the hump, gets to 1,000 points, like it's more than likely he will in a couple of years. Yeah. He will be a lock, just like Steven Stamkos, which is typically the comparable, as Dave said. Any closing words, boys, before we cut it off there?
I got one last to add here. Very smooth. Very smooth.
Wait, is it Leafs? Because I have one JT related.
Go GT first. Go GT.
Okay. So I know this is going to bring up some trauma for the two of us, but let's also not forget the horrific injury that he suffered against the Habs in the first. Yeah. It was like the first period of the first game.
First period of the first game.
Dude, like that injury alone could have potentially, set him and his, like, he could have potentially never have played hockey again just off of that incident alone. To see him also then come back, rebound. Last year, 100%. I won't be the first one to admit it, but he did look a little bit sluggish, and I think we could generously say that was due to maybe post-injury related issues, 100%. Because he actually did start playing well down the stretch. He was a big performer in that series against Tampa, if we remember correctly. Should have had the game. Was a tying goal.
Oh my god!
Not too much.
But bro, his performance in Game 6. Oh my god.
Game 6, and then even in Game 7 as well, trying to get the Leafs over the hump. Man. So you know what? I want to give.
I'm just swearing under my breath.
I want to give JT his kudos on that front as well for coming back from a horrific injury. Like, not many players maybe can come back from something as intense or whatever you want to call it as that incident in particular. So hats off to him for maybe even coming back as good or potentially even better than what he was before that. So,
and hey, that wasn't his first major injury too. Wasn't it a broken leg?
2014. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like this guy has gone through stuff. Stamkos too. We can make the comparables. Didn't he? Wasn't his a broken leg
blood
as well?
Clots.
And blood clots. Yeah.
Like crazy.
Right?
Yeah.
And we forget the first Stanley Cup for Tampa Bay. Stamkos only played in the finals. He scored a goal in 4
He wasn't a part of it,
right?
Yeah.
Incredible. So,
and he still scored.
Yeah, I know, right? Because he's Steven Stamkos, right?
Of course.
So, okay. The one thing I had, it goes back to the goaltenders. This is just a storyline that hasn't been touched on at all. I felt. Dave, who was our goalie coach before the guy we have now? Do you remember his name? Do you remember him from the Amazon doc, the conversation with Keith about Freddie?
I'll be honest with you, dude. If you tell me his name, maybe I can't.
Yeah,
it's okay. It's okay. Lineup.
His name is Steve Briere. Remember Steve Briere?
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So now it's Curtis Sanford. We gotta give some kudos to Curtis Sanford for why Samsonov has been good, and Murray for the most part. I know Murray wasn't good before his injury, but on the whole, goaltending has been a positive for the Leafs. Do you know where Steve Briere is now? He got hired in the summer after he was fired. What team in the NHL has Steve Briere? What's a team whose goaltending was god-awful last year? It's okay. It's better this year, but still not the best.
Arizona.
Is it Seattle?
It's Seattle. Seattle. Yeah. So Steve Briere found his way to Seattle with Dave Haxtell.
With Dave Haxtell.
Yeah, right? So
I played with him for that 1 year. They were together for the 1 year for sure when Hackstall was here. I'm pretty sure Steve Briere was there for.
He was here a long time, man.
Yeah, he was. I remember him there for Freddie, like the beginning of Freddie's time.
Dude, honestly, it might have even been before that.
Before that,
he might have been back to like
Reimer,
Reimer. Honestly, I think he might have been.
I have a feeling. Yeah, he probably could have. I'll be honest. I have no idea. Like, I don't.
No, me neither. Like, I don't pretend I know 100%, but it sounds about right. I just want to bring it up. So Curtis Anderson, we can give that guy kudos as well for goaltending turnaround. I was looking up Steve Briere because I wanted to make sure he was on Seattle, and I found his hockey DB. We'll close on this. In 1993-94, he played in the. I don't even know what league this is. I'm not even pretend that RMJHL. Okay. His team name was the Trails Smoke Eaters. What the hell are the Trails Smoke Eaters?
The Rocky Mountain Junior Hockey League.
Yo, what the hell?
Is it the Rocky Mountain Junior Hockey League?
I'm gonna assume so.
Shot in the dark, dude.
Holy crap, man.
So here's the reasoning for that. Trail Smoke Eaters and the Rocky Mountains, that goes hand in hand. And then RMJHL, dude, it has to.
Was he right?
I got the confirmation for you. It is the RMJHL. Dave, what a goddamn snipe. Okay. He played 26 games. Give me Steve Briere's goals against average and save percentage in 26 games back in 93-94 in the RMJHL.
850.
He was a 829 save percentage. His goals against in 26 games.
3.
Take one stab at it.
3 on the dot.
3. Dude, 7.39.
Wow.
That's his goals against average. And it's not like he played 4 games. 26 games with a 7.39.
I can tell you one thing: the Trail Smoke Eaters are definitely the punching bag of the RMJ 1993.
Yeah, his record was 3-12-1, so that only comes out to 16. But dude, that only comes out to 16 results, which means he was pulled 11 times. Dear God, Steve Briere.
So who was in relief?
Unfortunately, maybe one day we'll look up the 93-94 Trail Smoke Eaters roster. He somehow ended up making the AHL. I have no idea. He played AHL in 2001. And he was actually okay. Providence Bruins. No wonder Steve Briere is fired. This guy was an inside agent the whole time, man. That's all the Steve Briere content I've got, but I just found that funny. Shout out to
that's
Dave
probably the most we're ever going to talk about.
Steve or the Trail.
That's probably the most anybody's ever talked about Steve Briere in his life. They didn't even talk about him on the trails. What is it? What are they? The Trail Snake Eaters, Smoke Beaters. What are they called?
The Trail Smoke Eaters, bro.
Where is Trail? Is that in? Wait, so the Rocky Mountains. That's
Alberta,
Colorado. It's like Alberta, Colorado. It goes down throughout like all of North America, basically, right? The Rockies.
Or is that Trail, British Columbia?
Okay, close.
Trail, British Columbia. Wow. I don't even think the town of Trail talked about him more than we did just now.
I pulled up the sketch. We can go. You guys want to go February 10th?
Are they still playing? Is the league still in existence?
Yeah, man.
Oh, hats off!
Yeah, man. They're playing Cranbrook, the Cranbrook Bucks on Valentine. February 10th is a Valentine's Day theme, boys. We're going.
Nice.
We're going.
All right, sounds good.
All right, boys. I'll see you guys there. Hopefully, we'll see some other BD Sports PuckPod fans there. But I think that's a good place to end it. Any closing words?
Rocky Mountain Junior Hockey League.
Yeah, go follow the Trail Smoke Eaters. What are they called?
Yeah, man,
that's stupid name. That's a terrible name. Who's eating smoke? Why are we eating smoke?
You better be allowed to light a cig in that place, eh?
Like, 100%.
Thank you for listening. Shout out to Fubo, Razor, NHLShop.ca. Get the phone app. Check out Dave's TikToks.
That I haven't made. That's going to be on the way this week. I didn't have time. They're coming. They will be on the way.
And that's a good place to end it off. We'll end it there. Bye.